Welcome, friends, back to the Performance Mindset. I'm your host, Amy Calandrino, and I'm founder of Beyond Commercial. After more than a decade of providing expert commercial real estate advice to business owners and families, I've met some impactful and influential people along the way. Today, I'm thrilled to have Joe Killinger join us. He's a social media maven, entrepreneur, investor, and all-around trailblazer who has successfully pioneered multiple companies. In this episode, we're going to dive into his dynamic approach to marketing, his ventures across numerous sectors, and then we're going to talk about how his diverse team has played a role in driving success. So you're in today for an insightful conversation with this true visionary. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you for having me and for all those kind words. You're going to heaven, evidently.
I hope
Making
so.
me look good, at least.
Right?
My mother would be
we
proud.
You're killing it, man. So, and what I love too, and I was really looking forward to today's show, is every time I see you, you have like such great energy. And Dalee Becker, one of our mutual friends, always says that givers get, and you're such a giver and great energy. And so I'm really excited for our chat.
Well, me too. And I'm very thankful. I'm thankful that I get to do this with you today. And actually just for being in our industry, right? It's just as we were talking before we came on, and we're busy, and, being thankful that we've got the business coming in. It's a lot of people don't have so much right now.
Yeah, I have to catch myself sometimes because there's several people in my market right now that they're like, oh, I got to find some deals. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like thinking like, should I keep expanding or just keep referring to other people, or how do I keep up with all this business? And it's a great problem to have. So it's not even a problem, but well, we chatted a little bit about before the show. I think it's awesome that you've had all of these different companies and how your experience has built on each other. So like, first of all, let's go back to how did you get into marketing, and, talk about, too, where it was more analog versus digital. And then when that kind of, you crossed that bridge and now you kind of have both. And let's just talk about marketing, because that's what everybody kind of knows you for, and that's augmented the growth of your businesses.
Yeah, so when I got started, I was in an auction company here in Los Angeles, and I got hired to be an on-site agent, and I was out just holding it. With auctions, you do open houses the weeks before the auction, about 3 or 4 weeks before the auction. So I was the one sitting out on those, and then on those open houses. And then after you were done, after the auction, you were out of work. And so I was just kind of doing it, testing the waters. Really needed to get work because I was completely broke. And so living hand to mouth pretty much. And I got fortunate. They hired me on into their marketing department. They had a big marketing department. This is a big company that were doing deals all around the country. I was focused here in Los Angeles. And so I started learning a lot about how to do auction marketing then. And so I got a lot of experience, got to learn how to, you got to remember back then though, you would do the front page of the LA Times and it'd be like a $50,000 a day deal, or even more, I believe it was.
Wow.
Postcards, that kind of stuff. And can you imagine going back in time now and be able to do what we do now back then, how much money we would have saved? Those newspapers had a lock on it, but so I started learning about marketing there. And then the company started struggling a little bit. I got moved into the closing department, which is where I now met my business partner, George Pino. He's the CEO of our commercial brokerage company, Commercial Brokers International, here in Los Angeles. And I learned how to do closings a little bit. Absolutely did not interest me at all, but that was what George loved. And so long story short is the company ended up laying a lot of people off, and George got to lay me off. And that's really the day that he laid me off, which, by the way, if you're ever talking in the secretarial pool, just know that those people know everything going on in the company. And so I was warned that I was going to get laid off. So I knew it was coming. So I went in early. George came in, wouldn't make eye contact with me. And I'm like, yep, it's true. And so I said, I hear I'm getting laid off today. He goes, come in for a bit. And then we sat and talked for about an hour or two. And then He escorted me out, and but I was like, what am I going to do? But I've heard there's this independent brokerage here in Los Angeles called Fred Sands Realtors that wanted to get into the auction business. So I sold myself and like, listen, I've got auction experience, which I really didn't have, to be honest with you, but I knew I could figure it out. So I went over there and interviewed. They brought me on, and lo and behold, a month or so later, George got laid off. And he had the gall to call me and ask me what I was doing after he fired me. But I'd actually heard he was getting laid off. So I still talk to the people in the secretarial pool because they all had become friends. So I just said to him, listen, when you make a decision, I said, I'll tell you what, if you want to come work with me, let's just start and let's do everything 50-50. That was 30 some years ago. I still can't get rid of him. He pays every day for laying me off. But we built something special in that company. It was called the Sands Group. We launched it in '93. We became the number 2 auction company in the Western region within the first 18 months. I'd already started cold calling for a month. So I had some deals that I was working on already. And so with the auctions, you had to cold call banks, developers. I was calling RTC, Freddie Mac, Fannie. I was calling anybody who was taking on properties. And so that's really back then, that's all you could do, Amy, was you had to cold call. And you would cold call, you'd get somebody's name, you'd have their address, you'd send them a thank you letter at the end of the day. You'd have to stop around 4 o'clock, type out the letters, fold them, send them off. And that's how we built our systems then. And when George came on board, we were both cold calling, and we learned right away that George is not a cold caller. He got one of the head guys at this insurance company on the phone, got the CEO, started to talk, froze, and hung up. I'm like, okay, well, when the time comes, we're going to have to find something different for you to do. And then when we did start getting busy, it took us a while, but when we did get busy, George started just handling the closings. And we took that company. It ramped up very quickly. And I'm very lucky that there's a lady at an institution. She goes, I called her a lot. And she goes, okay, hotshot, I'm going to give you a chance. She goes, don't screw this up. And I'm like, I promise I won't. And we didn't. And they only gave us 60 properties in the beginning. We didn't. And we started getting a bunch of their business. Then we started getting Freddie Mac's business. And at the end, not at the end, but within that a full year or 2 years, we were doing 600 to 700 properties a year. And so I continued on with the marketing because we had to continue, figuring out how to do it. And mostly that was cold calling. We would send letters. We'd come with creative postcards, that kind of stuff. And George would handle the properties. Now, you got to remember, it was, 600 to 700 properties a year. That was several properties a day that were closing. So George just didn't have time for business development. So to this day, I handle the marketing. He handles the closing of our properties. And so that hasn't changed. And but it forced me, as the evolution of marketing was happening, I had to sit and learn. So I just would call up people and ask them, this internet thing, this is going to be something that's going to change, right? This is really going to change what we're doing here. And so I just started asking questions, and I would pick up the phone and call people, what's going to be happening here. And, we're very fortunate now that we have got something like CREi Summit where we can all sit around and the people that are involved with this organization that are so willing to talk about what's working for them. And so times have changed, right? So, but as we were growing our companies, we were just starting to pick up the new ways. And then when we got new ways of doing the marketing, then when the internet got going, I really like that we've got to figure this out, because I can reach so many more people at the push of a button than I can with a postcard or an ad. And it's, essentially for free. So, but that's how we got started.
Wow. And when did you really find that you were trying to adopt the internet and digital tools? Was that in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Early 2000s. Early 2000. I mean, it's we started Commercial Brokers International, a commercial brokerage company we have now, in 2005. And so we really want to be, the big thing is, how are we going to compete with the big guys? because I
Right.
knew they would be moving slow. I knew the big three are going to be moving pretty slow with it. So we started hiring some people, and when we decided to pull the plug on it and really get good, everything in our company is direct dial. We don't have a receptionist, and so we hired this kid out of USC. He had his master's in marketing, and he built everything for us. We had a real focus on SEO. And if you Google
Hmm.
right now, commercial broker in Los Angeles, we're going to come up in front of almost all of the
Oh
brokerages,
yeah.
big and small. No, we don't do any paid ads. It's all SEO driven reviews, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So
That's what I
he
do with
set that
mine.
all up for us, and
Wow.
we still talk to him to this day. And then when we wanted to get into video, we hired a young lady that worked over at HBO in their video department. And what's coming? How are we going to do this? We hired her to really teach us how to do it. We're still figuring that out, as you can see by some of our videos. And as we were talking before, there's days that we struggle with it, but we know what to do. Video is what's working right now, and so we really want to
Yeah.
embrace it. So yeah,
Yeah, I
when we
found.
see or think we know what's coming, we start talking to people and asking them, how can we get better at this? It's you'd be surprised how often you can phone and call somebody. Let me buy you coffee. I just want to pick your brain for a little bit.
Oh, it's incredible. I have there's a guy that has like one of the top marketing companies here, like in Orlando, and I'm just like, hey, can I take you golfing, or
Mm-hmm.
can I buy you some coffee? And he's like happy to help. And
Yeah,
I've never actually hired his company because they're pretty expensive, but I referred him a lot of clients.
yeah,
So, and I'm one of those people too. Is I kind of have a philosophy is like I want to understand how to do something before I hire someone to do it. So
yeah.
then I know if they're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
So I, probably shouldn't admit this, but I know how to like I was doing DNS records yesterday for one of my websites and editing a video and I know how to do just because I had to. Nobody was like available to do it and I wanted to get it going. But
Yeah,
I've learned just about how to do everything, and of course that's the stuff I hate to do.
yeah.
Like
Me
just
too.
figuring out how to like migrate and program websites. But actually our website I basically built with the help with someone else, and that's but we're super SEO rich. If you look up like Orlando multifamily, I think often we're above Marcus Millichap.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
you'd be
crazy,
surprised.
but
You talk to so many people; they're so focused on the hot thing in marketing right now that they're
mhm.
forgetting about SEO, having a funnel. They don't do any of that stuff. A lot of companies, and you talk to somebody. Well, when's the last time you did your SEO? Well, when we built the site. Well, when was that? 6 years ago. It might might be time for an update.
Yeah,
The basics. You got to stick with them too.
yeah. Well, and then how many active companies do you have right now?
We have Commercial Brokers International, and it's a full service commercial real estate brokerage company based in Los Angeles, but we're doing deals nationwide. We have
Hmm.
Icon Capital. It's a commercial real estate mortgage company. It's a partnership with BMC Mortgage out of Dallas, Texas. I don't know if you know Keith Van Arsdale there. He's absolutely amazing. We have a partnership with them. And so we just handle the front end, they handle the back end. And then we have
Hmm.
Commercial Real Estate Affiliate Network, that is a group of independent commercial real estate brokers around the country that this is kind of a funny story, so I'll tell it quickly. But we were bringing in clients. We brought in F45 Corporate from New Zealand. We brought in Lorna Jane from Australia, Urco Lighting from Germany, all from our marketing, right? And so they were all fine and good when they want to be here in LA. And they said, well, we want to start going to Texas, Florida, New York. We want to open offices there and really expand. And we couldn't handle it. So we had to pass those clients off. And as you can imagine, that stung pretty good. So what we decided to do was join an affiliate network. Well, I started calling on affiliate networks and I found out what they cost. And I'm like, that seems kind of crazy for the amount of deals we'd be putting through the pipeline. And so what we decided to do was launch our own. And the way
Yeah.
the commercial real estate affiliate networks with is we vet out the brokerages that we have onboarded, And if, let's say, one of our agents refers a deal to Corey in New York or Brian in Miami, they get a 20% referral minimum. Sometimes they don't want to give up the client very much, so they'll work. The split is negotiable, but it's on
Right.
a done deal. There's no annual fees. But
Oh,
I
okay.
don't make any money doing that. But where I make the money is I've got agents right now. Our small little company here in Los Angeles is handling 7 international clients. And that's unheard of. There's a lot of bigger firms that don't have that many international clients. And we're going to be expanding them. They're starting here and we're expanding them across the US. And so that's why we started that. I've got some incredible people. We're always looking for independent brokerages I do just a couple per state. And so we're always looking to grow there too. But they have to be full service. Well, not all of them, but most of them are full service. A lot of them have a strong retail presence because that seems to be really what's growing. Yeah, so that's been interesting too. Got a lot of great brokers there.
That's a great idea. And I found early on, I've thought about franchising my business or
Mm-hmm.
doing additional locations. And I've looked at affiliate networks, but a lot of them, you have to be just a tenant rep, or you have to be this, or you
Yep.
have to be that. And then I just don't understand the value proposition too. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you get it too. Do you have franchises commonly coming to you like, why don't you buy our franchise and you could be part of this thing? And
Yeah,
do
we
you have that
have.
happen too?
Yeah, they mostly call George the CEO. They don't call the marketing guy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's part of the payback from 30 some years ago. But
That's
yeah, so
right.
he deals with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Speaking of commercial brokers international, I'm sure, your marketing's been great and it really shows how diverse your culture is. Can you talk a little bit how you have built it to be this great, vibrant, unique, brand and of, people of all different walks of life?
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't built that way on purpose. We just hired the best people we could find. But I'm very
Mm,
specific about. I have to be in the office every day, so
mm-hmm.
I'm going to be around people that I want to be around. Um,
Yeah.
they're going to be good at what they do, but goddamn it, if you got a big ego, I've had too much of that in my life. I'm here to work every day. I want to be around people I can trust you. You support
Mm-hmm.
the other team members. If there's something that needs to be done, you roll up your sleeves and get it done. I've got one lady that will go out every Friday night. She will go into the refrigerator and clean it out. She goes, I'm not coming to this on Monday. So the refrigerator's clean on Monday morning. She'll throw all the food out
Yeah.
that's left in there that's been opened. And so, everybody just supports each other. We do lunch together almost every day. At least they're the agents that are in the office. And honestly, most of the people in the office that are newer, the more experienced agents work from home. A lot of them just don't even live near the office, just work from home.
Right.
But a lot of them moved during COVID and they want to get out of ways. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've never really focused on. I just focus on people that are good people that are willing to do what it takes to be successful. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to find them. I don't really allow for excuses. If you're not performing, I'll come and sit down with you and go, why are we here?
Right.
And, how can we make this better? And start from there.
Yeah. No, I have a similar, culture, and anytime I've had people with egos, it just like frustrates me, and it almost seems as though it's like, I want something special for me, and it's me, 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 and like,
Mm-hmm.
well, then go do your own thing or
Yeah.
go somewhere else. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's just not. I tell people when I'm recruiting, I'm very clear. If you're new, I said you're going to be in this office for at least 18 months. It's going to be 8:30 to 5:30. You're going to do 2 classes a day. 8:30 in the morning you do a class because George, the CEO, does this class with everybody. Heavy training. 5 o'clock, we do a kind of evaluation of the day. How did it go? How did your calls go today? How many did you get out? Did you do an email blast? Did you create content? Did you do a block program or a doc knocking program? What'd you do? and then we analyze it for them. And the goal is to try to get them to understand that you, at the end of every day, every week, every month, every year, you want to look at, this is what's working for me right now. And the stuff that's not
Right.
working, I either need to work on it and make it better, or I need to, maybe bring somebody else in to work on it with me, or I've got to really hone my skills or not do it because it's a waste of time. And so the agents that have gone through that, I mean, I've got an agent that's been with us for 2 years, 2.5 years. She's doing a few $100,000 this year in a down market. And I got another young kid, mid 20s. He's going to do over 200 in a down market.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's just, but they also, it was amazing. One of them, agent had been out of the office for a bit on vacation. And when she came back, it was just like everybody was just happier that she was back. And, they're just so supportive of each other. And I mean, we have our days, don't get me wrong. We have our days where like, I can't look at you people, but most days are really good. And I know that they say the same about me because they'll tell it to me right to my face.
Well, yeah, no, if someone's driving me crazy, I let them know. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Like, what's going on? So,
Yeah.
but no, it's good. I think it's so important to have that great working rapport. And if you can hold each other, those, having them look at their day at the beginning of the day and then reevaluating the day at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and you guys setting up that construct is going to make it automatic for
Yep.
them to then do that, because I find that that's really successful for most, entrepreneurs. Like, I use a phone, but then I also, follow my little planner throughout the day.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, where am I? Where am I? Like looking at it. And at the end of the day, what did I get done, not get done? What are my top 3 things for tomorrow? Those types of things. So awesome. So I think that's great. How many team members do you have right now in the Commercial
14.
Brokers International?
Well, we have 14 at Commercial Brokers International. We're going to take it up to about 20 at the most. What I want in our company is I want that top percentage. And I don't want people that are here just doing, a couple $100,000 a year and that's all they're happy making that. I want winners that are out there to win. And I'm going to help them build a team around them. And so we're going to help the people that we have right now. And then we'll probably open an office in Newport Beach area, right on Irvine, Newport Beach area.
Okay.
Maybe a satellite office in Glendale. We've got a team we're talking to that would want an office in Glendale. So we're looking at a lot of things for growth, but we're in no hurry. When the right deal comes, it comes. If we don't get it, then we wait until the right deal comes. I was fairly impatient in my youth, and I've learned that patience is something that it's a necessity.
I think that's so important. I'm in a similar space in my business now where I'm not in a hurry to grow. I have a lot of people knocking on the door to kind of come in, but I'm being really, really selective. I feel like I was in too big of a rush probably like 5 years ago and felt like I needed to be at these numbers, and probably it was part like ego and not having a really great disciplined plan. But I think just competing with yourself and your company and what is good for your company and not worrying about anyone else, I think can really help a lot. So, yeah.
There was at one point we had our property management company, we had an investment company, we had the brokerage, we had our own investments, and we had a tech company that we ended up selling off. It just, as we're all entrepreneurs, we always think, oh, then this is going to be the winning ticket. This is what's going to do it. And what it took me going through all that is like, no, it's focus on the one thing and really be good at that one thing. And, and that's how you're going to win, just with focus, not having energy going in 10 different places, really have it focused in one area, and then just be the best in your market at. And it took me a long time to learn that.
It's not an overnight thing to learn those lessons, but then, realizing it and having that like self-awareness. And I think, you have such a great brand for your commercial brokerage. Why not continue to invest in that and make that better and perform better and get better people rather than having, so many other things. So not that you can't have other things, because you seem very creative, and especially being more into marketing, that you want to do, other things. So
I'm very
yeah.
fortunate that I've got a head of marketing, and she spends with me about 85, 90% of her time saying no. She goes, no, that's not going to work. No, we're not going to do that. No, that's too far off brand. And she's right. We got our master's from USC, and I'm kind of the idea guy. And I'll
Yeah.
come in, and I really have a bad habit of getting excited about something. And I come in, I'll tell her, she goes, let me think about it, and she'll come back and say, no, here's why. And I'm like, God, okay, on to the next. So yeah, she's knocked a lot of ideas down that I thought were brilliant, and then when she explained why it wasn't, I saw her point. It's very
I
humbling.
need someone like that, because like I think it is good to have someone that tells you like, because otherwise, if you do too much too, you cause like whiplash, in your business. If you're
Yeah.
doing too much of one thing, or doing,
Mm.
there's even the such thing, I feel like, if you're trying to do too much, well, I'm not gonna say too much content, like, but right now I'm trying to like level up my content, but then my team isn't necessarily built out enough really to do that, and I don't want to break
Yeah.
them. So, just being mindful of the limitations that you have, and then also what is working, what's not working. You were
Yeah.
talking to me about on Mondays, you look at what's working and not working. What
Hmm.
are you surprised that is not really working the way you think it'd be working?
Oh, I think I've come up with a great idea for a piece of content, and we put it out, and it's one of the worst performing pieces of content out there. I mean, not me. For me to get it past Selena, we all kind of decide that this is something that's really going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever the case, it just doesn't pull. And then we'll put
Oh,
something up as just you kind of think is a throwaway piece, and it just hits a home run. You're like, really? But it's yeah. Our Monday meetings, I sit down with Selena and George, and we go through the companies, what's going on, and where's the growth, where are we lacking. We just go through everything top to bottom and really kind of discuss what's happening in the companies and with the team. So yeah, it's very important. Those Monday meetings for me are very important. It kind of gives me an idea of what we're working on that's going right, and then what we also need to really work on and give more focus.
yeah. I started implementing Monday meetings about 2-3 months ago, and my deal pipeline's way up. We're executing way better. As much as I don't like to be like pinned down to look at all these things, I'm a very like active person.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that, I think, is very important as a business owner to do. Or, whether it's Monday or whatever day, but I think Monday, just get it out of the way. Otherwise, the week takes you away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You start thinking about it all week. You're like, oh God, I got to do that Friday meeting. So yeah, we do it Monday morning. It's one of the first things we do, and it's the discussion between the team of what we can be doing better and how to
Mm-hmm.
implement it. It's important, and it's important to have those opinions to listen to them because it used to be just George and I, and which probably was. I look in hindsight, I was doing marketing, George was doing closing. It was more of a just updating each other where we're at because we didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have a lot of input on what the other was doing because it's not something we really understood. When George starts
Right.
talking about doing his closings or his leases, I just am like, okay, that sounds great, but when I'm looking at AI or other technology, now I do pass when I run across a piece of AI that we like, because we're always testing AI right now to see what's going to work for us. I'll pass it over him to his thoughts. I'll pass it to Selena. What do you think before I even take a call with a company? And just having that input from other team members. Selena is much younger than George and I. She's in her mid 20s, and so getting
Mm-hmm.
that input from a younger person, she's a woman. It helps. It helps. It helps us figure out how to really target everybody.
Yeah. Oh, we spoke a little bit about CREI, which is how we met. Was there anything particularly there that you took away in the last couple years that you're finding success from that you can think of?
What Ken Ashley has built there is something that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
managed to bring together top marketers in real estate, commercial real estate, across the country. And not just are they top marketers, they're willing to share their ideas and they'll talk to you about it. If we pick up the phone, if we stop what we're doing right now and pick up the phone and call one of them, and they're not, might be busy, I guess, but if they're not busy, they'll take our call. And you could say, what's working in your market? What are you doing? And so, I mean, I've got a live here with 6 of them that I met. Well, 2 of them are in our office because I didn't meet them at CREi Summit, but everybody else I've met at CREi Summit. And we're going to talk about the coming up with content ideas, because as you know, content creation, coming up with ideas every day or every few days is difficult. So we're going to talk about that. And then implementation, how are you going to implement it and for best results. And, I've got Kyle and Sarah, Eddie Gonzalez, Mo Regalado, Justin Ryder. He puts great content out. His YouTube channel
I love his
is absolutely
content.
amazing. Yeah, and George Pino and Ari Mencia. So we're all just going to talk about it. So hopefully we get some people to call in. If not, it's going to be embarrassing as hell. But I do think that, I always looked when I got into the industry of how can we make this a better industry? And I think we're really onto something. And CREi Summit is definitely a leader in that.
I agree. I got the idea for the podcast from going there. So, and it's been great. Yeah. I never really would have envisioned myself having a podcast, years ago, but it's been wonderful to kind of connect with people and have people also say like, oh, I listened to this and I picked this up, and it's been really cool. So, well, awesome. Is there anything else you want to chat about today?
I kind of think that's it. It's we're in a wonderful industry. I think things are changing. You've probably seen the last couple of weeks, the phones have picked up. I think it's a great time to be getting into our industry. And, if you ever have any questions about it, you've got my website here, or you can email me at joe@joecalendar.co. And let's have a conversation about getting into commercial real estate. Love to help you out.
You saved me the question of how people get a hold of you. You already knew what to do. So
I've done a few of these. I knew what was coming.
Just a few. Well, awesome. This has been great, and looking forward to seeing you in just a few weeks. And I appreciate everyone tuning in today to the Performance Mindset Podcast. And this is Amy Calandrino signing off.